At the engagement party, Ethan's childhood sweetheart, who had been abroad for years, showed up uninvited. She was dressed rather flamboyantly, her eyes red as she gazed lovingly at him, looking more like the star of the party than I, the bride-to-be. She said that since she couldn't marry him, she would attend his engagement ceremony in full dress, to fulfill a self-deceptive fantasy. I chuckled. No need for all that trouble. He's just a man. If you want him, he's yours. Isla was coming back to the country for Ethan's and my engagement party. As one of the people directly involved in this engagement party, I was apparently the last to know. Ethan was a perfect boyfriend. Because I had a sensitive stomach, he never let me eat takeout and cooked dinner for me every day after work. The rhythmic chopping sound from the kitchen drowned out my phone notification sound. Seeing that Ethan hadn't heard it, I instinctively picked up my phone to check, thinking if it was an important message, I'd bring it to him. To my surprise, that one glance made me freeze on the spot. His phone displayed a group chat I'd never seen before, and I wondered if it was newly created. The group name was simple, The Without. The name was quite fitting. Everyone was in the group, Ethan and his friends, everyone except me. They were eagerly discussing Isla's return to the country in the group, planning how to throw her a welcome party, their messages brimming with anticipation and excitement. It was as if she, not I, was the one getting engaged to Ethan the day after tomorrow. I had known for a long time that his friends weren't particularly fond of me. In their eyes, it was as if my presence had torn apart Ethan and Isla, the perfect couple. If our world were a novel, there was no doubt that, to them, I was the villainess. So I never expected to fully integrate with them. All I asked for was that we coexisted peacefully. After I became serious, they slowly started calling me Grace, and occasionally invited me to activities. I thought that even if they didn't particularly like me, they had at least accepted me. But it wasn't until I saw the messages in the group that I realized how much of it was just my one-sided affection. The messages in the group continued. It was Liam, a mutual friend of Ethan and Isla. He was asking if Ethan would be able to make it to her welcome party on time. Perhaps seeing that Ethan hadn't replied, Liam simply tagged him in the group. Isla came all this way back, you wouldn't let her down, would you? Man, you haven't replied in ages. Don't tell me you're still cooking for that woman. You say you don't even like her, so why bother with such a strong sense of responsibility? That word, dislike, stung my eyes. Ethan doesn't like me? I didn't understand. If he didn't like me, why did he pursue me in the first place? Why was he so good to me, and why were we about to get engaged? Liam grew more agitated in the group, interspersed with jeers from others, and the group chat was bustling. I scrolled through the chat history briefly. There wasn't much useful information beyond the teasing and complaints, so I stopped reading. I marked the messages as unread and went to the kitchen to give Ethan his phone. Your phone kept ringing just now. Check quickly, is there something important for you? You can just look for me, you know I don't. Ethan said as he took his phone from me. But after seeing the content of the group, his last 4 words died on his lips. Didn't know what? I asked him without looking up, my gaze fixed on the match 3 game on my phone. Oh, no, nothing, Ethan forced a calm smile. He smiled, and I smiled too. Both of us pretended that nothing was amiss. I was never a magnanimous person, especially when it came to relationships. I couldn't tolerate any impurity. I had made this clear to Ethan the very first time he told me he wanted to be with me. Back then, we were still in college. Thanks to a competition, 2 well-known individuals on campus met for the first time in a formal setting. Not long after the competition, he asked me out and formally expressed his intention to pursue me, wanting to be with me. The first time, I refused him without a second thought. He asked why. I told him that his desire to be with me felt like it was on a whim, and he also had an inseparable female companion, Isla. But I only see her as a sister. I still remember how agitated Ethan was when he said that, his voice rising, as if trying to convince himself. A biological sister? Related by blood? I asked him. Ethan was speechless. I just smiled and picked up my bag, ready to leave. As I left, I told him we couldn't be together, because I wouldn't act with a girl he wasn't related to by blood. At the time, I thought my involvement with Ethan would end there. But to my surprise, for my sake, he distanced himself from Isla and even had conflicts with the friends he'd grown up with. I asked him why, and he said it was the sincerity he wanted to show me. I saw his sincerity, so I gave him a chance, and eventually, we naturally got together. As for Isla, I don't know if she couldn't accept the reality, but she chose to follow her family's arrangements and went abroad. Ethan's friends also held a grudge against me because of Isla's departure. I was passive throughout this entire situation, which is why I couldn't understand why their hatred seemed so baseless. I didn't bring up the group chat to Ethan. For one, he hadn't posted anything in the group, so he might not even have known about it. Secondly, I'd seen how good he'd been to me over the years, and I didn't want to condemn him based solely on a few messages from others without concrete evidence. So I gave him his phone, putting the decision in his hands, letting him choose how to handle it. Who sent the messages? I stood beside him, and as if on a whim, asked casually. Nobody, just a few junk messages, Ethan said evasively. Turn ing off the screen on his phone. My heart involuntarily sank. Ethan, I'd given you a chance. You better not disappoint me now. Seeing I remained silent, Ethan placed his phone face down and handed me a plate of food. You must be hungry after waiting so long, let's go eat. Ethan probably thought he was hiding it well. But what he didn't know was that after all these years together, I understood him far better than he imagined. The next day, which was the day before our engagement, Ethan called me, saying he had an urgent work matter and would be home late, so I should make my own dinner. I smiled and said okay, but after hanging up, I went out to the hotel, where they had said in the group chat yesterday they were throwing Isla a welcome party. I am a suspicious person. Once doubt takes root, I always need to see the truth with my own eyes. I had already seen the private room's name at the hotel in the group chat yesterday. Perhaps due to a flight delay, Isla hadn't arrived when I got there. Ethan was talking with them. I heard Liam ask him, dude, are you really going to marry that woman? If you ask me, you don't even like her anyway. And now Isla's back for you, why don't you just dump her and be with Isla? Wouldn't that be better? Ethan, holding a drink glass, stared intently for a long moment, then let out a sigh and drained the drink. After all, I was the one who pursued her first. We've been together for so long, even if it's a mistake, I have to see it through to the end, come what may. Besides, he forced a wry smile, if I turn back now, it would be irresponsible towards Isla too. How ridiculous. First love, and I was just the path he had to see through to the end, come what may. Listening from outside the private room, my hands involuntarily clenched into fists, my nails digging into my palms. It hurt, but it helped me stay calm and continue listening to them. Liam grew agitated listening to Ethan. What's the big deal? You don't dislike Isla, and besides, didn't you do what you did back then because you had no choice due to difficult circumstances? Then, from the conversation between Ethan and his friends, I learned the full truth about why he pursued me back then. It turned out that Isla's family company's finances hit a snag, and to help Isla, Ethan went back to plead with his parents to inject capital into her family's business. His parents feared it was a bottomless pit and initially refused, but couldn't resist their son's pleas. They agreed to help the Lin family just this once and seized the opportunity to demand that Ethan and Isla keep their distance from then on. At that time, he and Isla liked each other but hadn't crossed the line. Ethan's parents' demand caused him great pain, but for Isla's sake, he still agreed. To reassure his parents and also to make Isla give up completely, he even started dating a girl. Later, the Lin family recovered, but Isla had already gone abroad, and the two had completely missed their chance. What a melodramatic, angsty romance. If I hadn't been the scapegoat roped into a placeholder relationship by Ethan on a whim, I would have clapped for them. My supposed perfect boyfriend turned out to be a liar, and my supposed happy love story originated from a deception. If the timing weren't so bad, I'd really want to rush into the private room, grab a liquor bottle, and smash it over Ethan's head to properly thank him. Thank him for letting me, who's been alive for almost 30 years, understand myself even better the day before my engagement. Turns out I was a total idiot. I glanced down at the time. Isla should be arriving soon. I turned off the recording feature on my phone. One shouldn't make decisions when overwhelmed. It wasn't time to come clean yet. Even though I was shaking with anger, I forced myself to calm down, planning to go back, sort out my messy feelings, and then carefully consider my next steps. Grace? A sudden voice behind me startled me. I turned to see Oliver, my not-so-bright rich boss and friend. What are you sneaking around here for? Don't tell me. Oliver said, his face alight with the scent of gossip. Hearing him speak, I quickly glanced back at the private room. Seeing that no one inside had noticed, I sighed in relief, clapped a hand over his mouth, and dragged him into a nearby empty private room. What are you doing here? Stealing trade secrets? Or catching your cheating boyfriend? Perhaps seeing my serious expression, Oliver lowered his voice and guessed wildly. Seeing I still didn't reply, he seemed to realize something, his expression growing serious. He lightly poked my arm and said in a negotiating tone, "Hey, let's be clear up front, we can't be involved in illegal activities. Just shut up." I gave him an annoyed side glance. "Don't tell anyone you saw me here today, or I'll chop you to bits." Oliver flinched. "Fine, I won't. Why are you so fierce?" Ethan came home very late that night. Usually, when he worked late, I would wait up no matter the hour, but tonight, I got ready for bed early. "Tired?" He entered the room, saw me on the bed, smiled, and leaned in to kiss me. I turned my face away, and his kiss missed my lips, landing on my cheek. Ethan paused, startled. I gave him a push. "Go shower and sleep, we have to get up early tomorrow." "Okay," he smiled gently, ruffled my hair, and went to the bathroom to get changed. Soon, the sound of water running filled the air. I raised my hand and scrubbed hard at the spot where he had kissed me, feeling disgusted by his kiss for the first time. Just then, my phone, which was by the pillow, suddenly rang. I picked it up and saw a friend request. Judging by the profile picture, it seemed to be a girl. A girl adding me as a friend at this hour. I didn't need to think to guess who it was. I pursed my lips, tapped the screen, and accepted the friend request. She seemed to have been waiting impatiently. As soon as the request was accepted, she eagerly sent several photos with the message, "You thief, just wait. I'll get back everything that belongs to me, sooner or later." Looking at the girl nestled in Ethan's arms in the photos, I had to admit she was indeed beautiful and looked very well matched with Ethan. It was just her brain. I suddenly laughed. "Get back everything that belongs to me? She just went abroad and came back. Does she think she's the empress returning to the palace?" Quickly screenshotting the photos and the girl's social media profile, I tossed my phone back by the pillow and didn't bother with her anymore. Perhaps she felt annoyed/faced a setback with me the day before, because when Isla showed up at the engagement party the next day, she was dressed rather flamboyantly. In a form-fitting vibrant red gown, with a meticulously styled updo and exquisite makeup, she looked more like the star of the engagement party than I, the bride-to-be. Isla's entrance immediately captured everyone's attention. Among the guests attending today, in addition to relatives and friends from both sides, there were also many of the He family's business partners. Everyone moved in the same circles, so naturally, some recognized Isla. They looked at me, then at her, as if they'd caught the scent of gossip, wearing expressions of keen interest, eagerly awaiting the drama. "Ethan," Isla said softly, taking a step towards Ethan, her eyes already red before she even spoke another word. She was a perfect picture of a pitifully beautiful weeping beauty. Ethan saw her attire and, for some reason, froze too. The two gazed deeply into each other's eyes, completely oblivious to the fact that Ethan's parents' faces had darkened considerably nearby. Well, look what little vixen showed up, trying to overshadow the bride-to-be with her beauty at someone else's engagement party. Just as Isla opened her mouth, preparing to pour out her heart to Ethan, my best friend Chloe couldn't stand it anymore. She spoke up for me, cutting Isla off with a single sentence. Before either of the two people directly involved could say anything, Liam got agitated first. He stood up, pointed at Chloe, and said, "What nonsense are you spewing? Watch your mouth." "Hey, how strange. I wasn't even talking about you, so what's wrong with you?" "Don't tell me." Chloe didn't finish her sentence, but her eyes circled around the three of them. Then she shook her head, tooted a few times, and gave them a "your crowd is really messy" look. Liam was so angry he almost burst out swearing, then turned her attention to Ethan. "Hey, did you mistake someone else for me? Your fiancé is right here. Why are you playing this romantic gazing game with another woman?" "And you," she said, finally scolding me. "They've come knocking on your door, and you're not going to stand up for yourself, just watching the show, huh?" Alright, Queen was equally targeting everyone. "Ethan," I said, walking over to the two, suppressing my discomfort. My voice was unexpectedly calm. "What's going on? Give me an explanation." "Grace, Perhaps my composure made Ethan seem flustered. "Let me explain." "Go on, explain. I'm listening." Ethan was taken aback by my demeanor, looking as if he suddenly didn't know where to start. "Aren't you going to explain? Why are you silent?" I asked him. Isla couldn't hold back. "Enough. Don't make things difficult for Ethan. He doesn't know anything. This was all my own idea. I've dreamed of marrying him since I was a child. Now that you've taken him, I don't intend to fight you for him. I just want to wear this dress to fulfill a dream." "Is that not allowed?" As spoke, tears streamed down her face, crying like a pear blossom bathed in rain. It was as if she and Ethan were ill-fated lovers, and I had become the meddling obstacle separating them. I was so angry I laughed. I turned to Ethan. If I'm not mistaken, you were the one who pursued me, right? How did it turn into me poaching a partner? Now the Plea girl is crying. How about we both kneel and kowtow to her? Chloe snickered from her seat, quietly giving me a thumbs up. What was supposed to be a lovely engagement party ended on a sour note. Ethan's parents forced smiles as they saw off the guests, their faces as dark as a pot's bottom, and then had to clean up the mess and come to comfort me. Grace, you are Eleanor's most favored daughter-in-law. Don't worry, Ethan is yours. Even if someone tries to take him, Eleanor won't allow it. Eleanor held my hand, her voice loud, making it clear to whom she was speaking without needing to say it directly. Isla's face drained of color repeatedly as she cried in the corner, with Liam by her side, comforting her. Grace, let's talk, Ethan said, walking silently over to me. His mother looked at him, then at me, sighed, gently patted the back of my hand, and left us alone. Are you sure you want to talk here? I asked, pointing to Isla who was still crying nearby. Right in front of your childhood sweetheart? Ethan paused his move to speak, then took me to the hotel's outdoor lounge area. Once outside, he confessed to me, I did know Isla was coming to our engagement party beforehand, but I didn't expect her to dress like this. If you knew beforehand, why didn't you tell me? I asked. Ethan was speechless, and after a moment, replied, I was afraid you'd be unhappy. And you think I'm happy now? Ethan, after all these years, you should know me. Don't take me for a fool. I cut right to the chase, exposing his thoughts. You weren't afraid I'd be unhappy, you were worried I wouldn't agree and that would hurt your childhood sweetheart, so you decided to act first, inform later. When you made that decision, your concern for Isla's feelings far outweighed mine, which is why today's farce occurred. Simply put, you don't trust me, and in your heart, Isla is more important than I am, isn't she? Ethan had nothing to say. I found it utterly pointless as well. Honestly, the moment I discovered the group chat messages on his phone, I wanted to break up. But everyone knew we were about to get engaged. Breaking up then, regardless of the reason, unless it became a huge scene, most people would probably think I was being unreasonable. But I wasn't the party at fault. Why should I take the blame for this? So I pretended not to know anything and let things unfold. Once it blew up, with everyone as witnesses, the reasons for our breakup would be readily apparent. Yes, from Isla's adolescent, melodramatic talk, I guessed she would definitely stir up some trouble. But I hadn't expected her to make such a huge scene. Not only me, but Ethan and his parents also became a laughingstock in this farce. Since you can't let her go and we're not married yet, why don't you break up with me and marry her? The wedding dress and the hotel are already booked, you'd just need to retake the wedding photos, saving time and effort. I gave Ethan what I considered a very reasonable suggestion. To my surprise, he didn't appreciate it at all, looking hurt instead. Grace, you're going to break up with me over this? What about all our years together? Ethan was being a little unreasonable then. I looked at him, somewhat speechless, wanting to say, just bad luck on my part. He'd played me for a fool for 6 or 7 years, and now I was letting him go without holding a grudge. Not only did he not appreciate it, but he was blaming me? You care so much about Isla, wouldn't it be better if I stepped aside and gave you two a chance to start over? I don't understand. Isla is a thing of the past, Grace. Believe it or not, I've truly never thought of breaking up with you. From beginning to end, I've only ever wanted to marry you. So I should thank you, is that it? He made me laugh from anger. Give me the marriage, and give your love to Isla? Then, in our loveless marriage, you'd reminisce about your unfulfilled love with Isla? Ethan, how did I not Eli's before that you're quite the player? No, that's not what I meant, Ethan rushed to defend himself. But I didn't give him a chance to finish. Whether it is or isn't doesn't matter, Ethan. You should know that I'm always cautious about matters of the heart and never speak in anger. So now I'm formally telling you, we're over. This isn't a discussion, it's a notification. As I finished speaking, Ethan's face turned ashen. I actually have a bit of procrastination, but when it comes to relationships, I'm always decisive. After breaking up in the afternoon, I showed up at Chloe's place, dragging my suitcase with my usual clothes and personal items. With so many years of friendship, Chloe understood what had happened without a single word. She took my suitcase, and as she carried it inside, asked, Have you thought it through? Yes, I have, I replied. Can you let go? Could I let go? Of course, I couldn't bear to. After all these years, Ethan's love for me might have been fake, but my love for him was real. But even if I couldn't bear it, I had to. I have severe emotional particularities. I was destined not to stomach this unsatisfactory situation. Alright, I won't ask, Chloe said, waving her hand when I didn't answer. I can't stand you earth signs. Doesn't living so stubbornly get tiring? Tiring? Of course it's tiring, but that's just how I live. What can I do? Taking off my shoes and entering the apartment, I threw myself onto Chloe's couch and sighed deeply. I haven't really experienced favoritism in relationships. The grievances I suffered in my upbringing, I don't want to experience them again in love as an adult. Chloe was silent. She walked to the couch, sat down, and quietly hugged me, gently patting my back as if comforting a child. Don't be sad. If they don't love you, I do. Pitying me? Are you pitying me? I was laughing lightheartedly, trying to see Chloe's expression, when she slapped me. Behave yourself. Oh. Life after breaking up with Ethan actually didn't change much. The biggest difference was simply that the person who cooked dinner for me every day after work changed from him to Chloe. And then Oliver was added to the people I ate with. Chloe and I had been friends since childhood. Oliver was our college classmate. We met by chance. After gradually getting to know him, we learned he was a naive rich kid with a lot of money, and we got the idea of asking him to start a business with us. He provided the money, and we provided the people. That's how we haphazardly set up our makeshift operation. At the time, many weren't optimistic about our venture, thinking it was just a few people fooling around, but unexpectedly, after a few years, our company was doing better and better. A while ago, the three of us were planning to try expanding into the European overseas market. Originally, I was the best candidate to oversee this area, but because I was going to marry Ethan, the matter was put on hold. Now that I'd broken up with him, I had no more concerns, and it was the perfect time to roll up my sleeves and get to work. Hearing me bring it up again, Oliver looked at me. Grace, you won't be back for a year or two if you go on this trip. Are you sure about this? What's there to be unsure about? I smiled casually. They say there's a conservation of energy. I'm disappointed in love, so I should at least find success in my career, shouldn't I? Seeing I wasn't just kidding, Chloe and Oliver exchanged glances. Oliver nodded. Okay, then you. But before he could finish, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I thought it was a telemarketing call and casually hung up. But the person was quite persistent. I'd hang up, and he'd call again, I'd hang up, and he'd call again. Finally, Chloe spoke up. Just answer it. It's rare to find such a persistent telemarketer these days. It was a bit unexpected. It wasn't a telemarketer on the other end, but Liam. It was a bit noisy on his end. I couldn't tell if he was at a karaoke lounge or a bar. Grace, Ethan's drunk and keeps looking for you. Can you come over? Ethan's drunk, so why are you calling me? I'm not a hangover cure. I was speechless. If it's really that bad, you can find Isla. Haven't you always looked down on me and hoped they'd be together? Can they be together? Seize the chance, maybe your OTP will get its happy ending. Liam was speechless for my retort and couldn't respond for a moment. I simply hung up the phone and looked at Chloe and Oliver. Where were we? Let's continue. We were talking about. Oliver had barely said 2 words when the phone rang again. My temper flared up then. I answered and immediately asked, do you not understand sense? Can you settle down? From the day I broke up with Ethan, you, and I have absolutely no connection anymore. Don't bother me. Grace, it's me. Ethan's voice came from the other end, still somewhat slurred from drink. You blocked me. I couldn't reach you, so I had to use Liam's phone to call you. Grace, I miss you so much. I was wrong. Can you come back? Please, come back. Go back? I paused, a cold laugh escaping me. Me go back? What about Isla then? I don't like her anymore. I thought I couldn't let her go, but actually, it was just an obsession. Grace, the person I like now is you. Ethan, I suddenly felt a pang of sorrow. I wasn't sure if it was for myself or for Isla. You're such a scumbag. My only reply from the other end was a long silence. Just as I thought Ethan wouldn't say anything else and was about to hang up, Liam's voice came from his end. His voice was low, as if he was chiding Ethan. Why are you still looking for her? You were so good to her, even gave up Isla for her, and what did you get? She doesn't appreciate it one bit. A heartless woman like that doesn't deserve anyone's love. If you ask me, she deserves to be unloved by her parents and have an unhappy upbringing. Because we were eating, I had put the call on speakerphone. The moment Liam said that, not just my expression, but Chloe's and Oliver's faces changed as well. Chloe slammed her hand on the table and yelled into the phone, what nonsense are you spewing at me? Ethan seemed to realize something at that moment, his voice laced with panic. Grace, I interrupted him coldly. WH what? I'm asking for your current address. Don't you want to see me? I'm coming over now. Ethan hesitated, then gave me his location before I completely lost my patience. I'm heading out. I hung up, grabbed my jacket from the couch, and put it on as I walked out. Hey, we're coming with you. Chloe quickly tugged Oliver, signaling him to follow. Oliver was still a bit confused. Why are we going with her? Chloe pointed at my retreating back. Keep an eye on her, so she doesn't a major incident. When I found the address Ethan had given me, only he and Liam were left in the private room. Seeing me, Ethan's eyes lit up for a moment, then seemed to remember something and quickly dimmed. Grace, I'm so sore. He probably wanted to apologize, but I didn't want to hear it, so I silenced him with a resounding slap. Hey, you woman! Liam interjected. I turned to look at him. Do you want to get slapped too? He probably wanted to stand up for Ethan, but whether he was in the wrong or intimidated by my gaze, he sullenly shut up. Ethan, is this fun? I shifted my gaze from Liam to Ethan. Telling your friends about my past traumas as if they were a joke, letting them mock me, pity me, and attack me, is that really fun? Grace, I didn't, Ethan said, his face pale, his attempt to defend himself sounding weak. Didn't? I scoffed. If you didn't, how would they know these things? I only ever told these things to you, didn't I? Not long after Ethan and I started dating, my mom, having somehow tracked down my address, came to find me once, and he happened to be there. She came to ask me for money because her and was about to get married and needed money for a wedding home. That day was probably the first time Ethan had ever seen me lose control of my emotions since he'd known me. After I chased my mom away, he seemed to be startled by me too. I had never mentioned those messy family affairs to him before. It wasn't that I wanted to hide them, I just felt there was no need. But since he stumbled upon it and asked, I told him. The story wasn't complicated, it was simply about a family preferring sons over daughters, always neglecting daughters and sacrificing their interests for the sake of the son. For instance, when I was little, they bought fried chicken for my younger brother, and to keep me from taking any, they made me wait by the roadside in the dead of winter. Then they forgot to come back for me. I waited there until dark, almost freezing to death in that snowy night. Or later, as an adult, to save money for my brother's wedding, they accepted hundreds of thousands in bride price, hid my admission letter, and planned to marry me off to the village idiot in my hometown. I still remember the heartbreak in Ethan's eyes when he finished listening. He held me in his arms like a fragile treasure, asking why I hadn't told him any of this sooner. I calmly told him that childhood trauma isn't a badge of honor. I didn't want to use these things to gain sympathy, nor did I need to display my wounds repeatedly to others. That helpless little girl had grown up. She had become her own strongest support system. She deserved anyone's love and could calmly accept anyone's departure. Of course, that anyone included Ethan. So I told him that if he ever fell in love with someone else, he should just tell me directly. I would leave cleanly, without any fuss. What did he say back then? Oh, right. He said he would love me, protect me well, and never leave me. So this is how he protected me. Ethan, I looked at him, you don't love me as much as you pretend to. I calmly and cruelly analyzed his true intentions. If you truly loved me that much, you wouldn't let your friends disrespect me. If you truly loved me that much, you wouldn't so easily tell them those things I never wanted to talk about. Let me guess what you said in front of them. I sneered. You told them how incredibly unfortunate my childhood was, how much you regretted pursuing me, but that you're a man of responsibility, so for your noble commitment, you had no choice but to give up your love and compromise myself by staying with me. Is that it? What were you thinking when you said you loved me? Were you thinking, look how great I am, I'm redeeming her? No, Grace, I do love you, I really do. It's just what? Just that you didn't understand your own heart before? I didn't hide the sarcasm in my voice. I pulled out my phone, showed him Isla's provocative messages, then played the recording of their conversation from that day, letting him hear his own words. So this is your love? Well, it's quite laughable. What about you then? Perhaps realizing I wouldn't turn back, Ethan suddenly erupted. He stood up and loudly accused me. Do you have to be so overbearing? Do you even truly love me? Haven't I been good to you all these years? You're going to break up with me over this one thing? Yes, I admit, I hadn't let go of Isla before, but I didn't make a huge mistake, did I? Even when she came back to find me, didn't I still choose to stay with you? Why can't you forgive me just this once? Hey, with my hot temper, Ethan, listen to yourself. Does what you're saying even make sense? Chloe, who arrived a step behind me, had just found the private room when she heard Ethan say that. She couldn't take it. She flung open the private room door, rolling up her sleeves and about to charge in, but Oliver grabbed her and held her back. Calm down, Grace, someone called out. Don't forget, we're here to stop you from causing serious trouble, not for you to charge ahead and take out the enemy before her. Those two clowns. After and Oliver's interruption, the frustration that had been building in my chest suddenly dissipated quite a bit. I stepped forward and reassuringly patted Chloe on the back, then picked up a drink glass and approached Ethan. After looking at him for a few seconds, I mercilessly splashed the drink on his face. Ethan, the one who was wrong from the start between us wasn't me. Even now, I don't believe I was wrong. If you didn't like me, you shouldn't have led me on. Even after all these years together, I don't need you. If you want to settle, you should have at least asked if I was willing to make do. The reason I came here today was to tell you one thing face to face: you are truly fake, pretentious, and utterly disgusted. Having said that, I didn't wait to see Ethan's reaction. I took Chloe and Oliver by the hand, one in each, and started to leave. Before stepping out, my gaze swept over Liam standing nearby. My steps paused slightly, and I added to him, "Oh, and you too." As the group exited the private room, Chloe seemed a little disappointed. I thought for sure you'd ream him out and then beat him up. I can't believe you just let him off the hook like that. Actually, I did consider doing that on the way here, but then I thought it over and realized it wasn't necessary. Whether it's my upbringing or Ethan, since we won't have any contact in the future, I shouldn't let them affect my emotions anymore. Easy for you to say. Chloe rolled her eyes. So why did you even bother coming? Would it kill you to give me a little credit? I slapped her on the back. I'm not a saint, I can't just be completely devoid of emotion. It takes time to let things go, you know. Alright, Chloe said, raising her hands in a gesture of surrender. Everything says is right, then, my dear Grace, what's your next move? What else can I do? Men are unreliable. Of course, I have to focus on my career. Plans and proposals for expanding into overseas markets were quickly finalized. I said goodbye to Chloe and Oliver, happily boarded the plane, and was gone for 3 years. During those 3 years, I lived a busy and fulfilling life. I never paid attention to Ethan's news again. It wasn't until the eve of my return to the country that Chloe called to pick me up from the airport. We chatted, and in a roundabout way, somehow the conversation turned to Ethan. It seems he broke up with Isla and isn't really in touch with his old friends anymore. A while ago, for some reason, he even came to me asking about you, saying he's waiting for your return. Whatever he wants to do is his business, it has nothing to do with me. My heart felt utterly calm, so I could say it casually. Just as I told Ethan a long time ago, I've never been a particularly forgiving person. Those who've hurt me, I will never forgive. Perhaps I should even thank him, and thank everyone who has hurt me along the way. They made me realize no one is born to love you, and no one is obligated to love you forever. So I won't passively wait for love to come, nor will I compromise myself for someone else's affection. After all, loving yourself well is a truth of life.